What is up, everybody? We got a banger video here because we got some massive healer changes here. And I just want to preface this because I was going to do this yesterday, but my power went out. We had a storm. So I'm actually glad, though, because I was able to kind of process it and actually got to play a game or two to kind of see, because these changes on paper seem absolutely crazy, but they aren't as crazy as you think. I think some classes were a little bit overkill, but regardless, this was just a general, just, you know, I'm imagining there are Blizzard's idea behind all these changes. So I'm going to talk about healers specifically, as you see by the title. There's massive buffs to pretty much every healer across the board. It's to deal with the change in the tanks. Tanks lost a lot of self-healing, and I don't know if some DPS do it as well, and they're just trying to put the healing back into the healers. I don't think that's going to be as successful as they think it's going to be. Some games here, you know, still doing... This is since the changes here, a lot of DPS still doing a crazy amount of healing. This is more of a tank focused thing. Like, look at this healing off of self-healing of virtually not pressing any buttons for a lot of these classes. But yeah, that was their goal, I imagine, is just to kind of buff the healers and nerf the tanks. PvE change, completely different to PvP, but there were some PvP specific healer changes, which are going to be a big deal. And as you can see from these, again, just give you baseline on these before you freak out on them. It looks like all they were really doing is just getting rid of every PvP modifier across the board. I don't know if there may be more, but from what I remember, these were a lot, like, I remember paying attention to Druid ones and Priest ones specifically, and I know that they were kind of tuning PvP tuning specifically, and it looks like they're kind of just chopping away all of the Dragonflight PvP modifiers, and I imagine they're just going to start over and kind of modify things as things go, which is a good idea, because there were so many class changes that the numbers for PvP specific are going to be a little bit crazy, which they kind of are. So let's get into it here. I'm going to try to speed through this. I don't have too much time today, but Resto Druid, we have regrowth buff, some self-survivability nerf, frenzy regen, Iron Fur renewal, all nerfed. Keeper of the Grove. Okay, this is one that I really disagree with. If you guys are playing any on the beta, so it's a weird dynamic because Wildstalker was broken in PvE and Mythic Plus, and Keeper of the Grove was never played. In PvP, it's the complete opposite. Wildstalker is complete trash bags, and Keeper of the Grove is broken. Okay, so it's kind of a weird dynamic. So basically, get used to playing Keeper. I actually just tried some around here on Solo Shuffle. This is post buffs with Wildstalker. That's how much damage it did. I tried. I mean, I didn't get the craziest uptime. It's a Solo Shuffle, but it did literally nothing. And on the healing, which it procs off of every single Swiftmend, literally did nothing. You know, when you alternate this with like you have Dream Bloom, you have insane more tree healing versus or as Keeper of the Grove, and just so many more healing buffs. So just get used to playing this. This Wildstalker is just completely garbage. It's never going to be played unless it's like buffed by like 150%. So anyway, okay, that's oh no, then we have our Restoration, Swiftmend, Life Bloom, Cenarian Ward. Resto Druid seems like it is still above every healer. Even though every healer was getting buffed, I definitely think Resto Druid is still going to be up there because of the PvP modifier. So going over the PvP changes, just I'm going to swap back and forth per class. Resto Druid is getting it's a flat 8% buff across the board. Mastery, this is the big one, is no longer nerfed in PvP. We don't really feel this on the beta because Mastery is really low season 1. You are going to feel this into the later seasons because it's an exponential change. Life Bloom buff, and then Regrowth initial buff by a lot. I was NSing like massive NSs, like 80+% of people's health bars in dampening. So yeah, that's what we got for Resto Druid. Evoker, Disintegrate's going to be affect. These are going to affect you as well. Disintegrate, Fire Breath, Azure Strike, Deep Breath, Verdant Infusion, Living Flame. So really good buffs across the board, damage and healing, which is nice to see. If you guys are not aware, with Preservation Evoker, pretty much Chrono Warden is going to be the go-to. Flame Shaper seems pretty garbanzo. The engulfs are for one, they're too complicated for the normal player, and two, like, this is just better and easier. Like, maybe you can min-max the engulfs, but Chrono Warden, it's just your Living Flame is just 50% stronger or whatever it is, and it just makes everything nice and easy. So that's probably going to be the play there. So these changes are going to be nice. Preservation specifically, Spirit Plume buff, which Spirit Plume, it does work better with Chrono Warden because there is a hot attached to it. Reversion will now extend. Echo and Emerald Blossom no longer consume Essence Burst when they are released from stasis. Okay, that's just a bug change, really. Lifeline will now trigger healing from heals that are considered procs. Okay. And Field Dream procs, no one call it. Okay, so there's bug fixes on there. So Preservation, some buffs. I don't think, like, nothing compared to the Resto Druid specifically because of the PvP stuff. And then I don't think they got anything. They got nothing in PvP. Okay, Mistweaver Monk is the only healer I have not yet played on the beta, so I can't really give a great look on it. But from what the looks of it, healing wins. You do get a self-survivability nerf. Yu'lon's Grace grants equal to maximum health. Okay, so this is like the across the board thing. They're just trying to nerf passive healing for DPS and tanks, but healers are going to get affected by this consequently. So they're reducing some of this stuff here. Manifestation. So these buffs, this kind of sucks. It looks like these are nerfs to Brewmaster, but Mistweaver's kind of just taking the blow with it, which is unfortunate. Anything specific to Mistweavers? They are buffing Ancient Teachings, but I think they counter that in yeah, they countered it in here though. So they nerfed it in PvP, buffed it in PvE. So I don't know how that's gonna. I'm sure it's gonna be like a net even. Vivify buff, Gust of Mist buff. Okay, so they're again buffing healers across the board for a lot of these. Okay, going on to the next healer here, Paladin. We got Flash of Light, Shield of Righteousness nerf, so some self-survivability nerfs. WOG 10%, that's a big one. Protection, we don't care about that. Okay, that's kind of it for Holy Paladin. Holy Paladin got nothing over here as well. Priest, really big buffs. I'm really glad to see these, but again, hopefully, because like regardless of healer versus healer, this Priest just felt like it couldn't heal. Like it just kind of felt like it was in the slumps of Dragonflight again. So these are some nice changes. I would like to see even this is what's killing me, man. Everybody and their mom wants to play Disc Voidweaver, but they just don't want you to play it because Mythic Plus, it's broken. Same kind of pool that Wildstalker's in. It's broken in Mythic Plus, which means PvPers get fucked. So again, we'll see how these changes are. These are such ridiculously big nerfs, but it's because it's like super easy AoE damage, and this was overtuned to begin with, but it doesn't seem overtuned in PvP. So just RIP Voidweaver. Disc across the board, just getting rid of those modifiers I guess they had. Penance healing, which is nice, but I would like to see penance damage up too. I don't know why they don't pair it together. Because there's a lot of healers that do more damage than Disc in Windows. Just for reference, a Penance does about... Oh, sorry, a Resto Druid Wrath does about 75% of a Penance's damage. And it's instant cast a lot of the time, and it gives you mana back. And it heals your target sometimes, so like, what the fuck? Holy Priest. Some Holy Heal is increased, Serenity increase, and Divine Image increase. Okay, those are nice. And then just Radiance buffed again here. So the way that I'm looking at a lot of these healer challenges, actually let me talk about this at the end. So Resto Shaman, we're going to get a Healing Surge. You're going to get, this one is a nice change. So you are unleashing, this is the main trigger of your Ancestor. It's going to be twice as long uptime. And then just healing across the board here. Riptide, Unleash Life, Healing Wave, Ascendance nerf, Ancestral Guidance nerf, and Undulation can now be tracked. Nobody uses Undulation in PvP. All right, and then in PvP, there was no changes to that. I think that's all the healers, right? Okay, so that is all the healers. Oh, I forgot to mention the Resto Druid damage, but I mean, it's not that relevant. It's not going to be relevant at all. I tested the damage. It's not relevant. But anyway, okay, so just general gist of these healer changes is that they are healing across the board. If you want to try to pick out which healers were actually affected the most, it's going to be via the PvP modifiers, and then just kind of the specific heals that were buffed across the board if they do apply to PvP. So like, just for example, you have Resto Druid, pretty much Life Flume is your main heal, and Regrowth are your big two heals because of Tree of Life. Those two were massively buffed, so you're going to feel a big impact along with the PvP modifiers that were taken out. And like I said, the Mastery is a massive buff. I played, and pretty much via the gameplay, I played mostly the solo shuffle. I did play one skirmish, but it was kind of it was a sub-rogue game, and sub-rogue doesn't really do a lot of damage, but it did seem like nobody took any damage. So we'll see with further tuning. Solo shuffle was fine. I thought it was going to be, nobody was going to die. There are parts of it. Let me just put this out there. Okay, I'm going to hate myself for saying this because I'm going to put the word out there, but hopefully this gets changed. Unholy DK and Frost DK are absolutely ridiculous, both of them, and they both ruin the testing experience for literally everybody. Okay, look at these games. They do just straight up 20 to 30% more damage than everybody else. Like here, and anytime you have a DK in your lobby, it is really hard to test any healers because they are just such crazy outliers. Nobody comes even close. Like, these guys are this guy wasn't even running the tier set. He doesn't even know that there's tier sets on the beta, and he's crushing everybody in damage. So like, yeah, So it's kind of hard to test the healing output in general, but it does seem like the changes were not as crazy as I thought in solo shuffle. I think the healing might be a bit too high and dampeny in regular games, but we're gonna have to see. I'm gonna continue the testing. That's going to be it for today. Make sure you do follow the stream, follow the YouTube channel. I'm going to be playing a lot of beta until at least the rest of this week, up until the pre-patch next week, and then we'll kind of see where things go. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, and peace out. See you in the next one.